When it comes to TV and movies, it's really hard to escape cheating, affairs, broken trust. Infidelity is a seemingly endless source of drama in Hollywood. But for those of us that have lived through it, is this really entertainment, or is it a constant reminder of our deepest wounds? It seems to be a universal plotline. And I don't know about you, but unless you're watching the Great British Bake Off or maybe just a documentary on earthworms, it seems high that there's always going to be a scene that's going to contain a reference or actually cheating itself every time you turn on your remote. Sadly, for any of us that have survived infidelity, already know that when you're in the midst of all the heartache and the pain, it's really upsetting, as if you don't have enough triggers and reminders as it already is. I don't know about you, but Christmas Day is a big day for most families, and it also is a huge day for movie releases. This past Christmas, we were sitting in the theater, I think watching Wicked, and I saw a lot of previews of the lineup of what was going to be released that day as far as movies. One caught my eye and surprised me, and this was a movie that included Nicole Kidman, a really high-powered female executive, and she was in the midst of an affair with a very younger male intern. Again, I don't know what maybe you thought, but this was not the kind of movie that I really imagined going to with my family ever, much less Christmas Day. But we all know this idea that sex sells, and it's hard to deny that we live in this kind of culture that's really immersed and obsessed with physical fitness, beauty, just sexuality in general. But it is disturbing and painful to know that infidelity is that constant source of this idea in Hollywood that these secret relationships often seem to get so much glamorization. Well, the Nicole Kidman movie that I did reference earlier, people did indeed go to see it. It did quite well at the box office. And I'm not going to see it. I didn't, but I have several guesses as to why. First of which, I think people that are going, they aren't active in recovery, and maybe they have no idea what an affair and an addiction actually feels like when you're in the middle of it or on the other side of it. Here's what I do know. People who do have affairs, though, you really are often very high functioning. You're often intelligent people that it doesn't really make sense of why you would do this. But people in affairs with all of the success, underneath it often is a really, really deep sense of shame, isolation, insecurity. And a lot of times, I know, we'll tend to use that success and that image and we'll hide behind it. So we appear high functioning or maybe in control, but underneath what's hidden can be secrets that will protect what we really can't bring to the surface and say out loud. Here's what's true about people that are betrayed. You're also very high functioning and intelligent. You're also hardworking and really successful in life. Here's what I hope that both wayward and betrayed spouses can agree upon. Once it's discovered, there's absolutely nothing that's glamorous about finding out about the deceit in your relationship. And there's no way a 2-hour movie will ever depict in that timeline what it's ultimately going to take to heal and repair from all the damage done by infidelity. It's going to take months, if not some years, to heal and grow through this. And I know, as you may find right now, there's many days in that process that are not only extremely painful, but they're boring, they're ordinary, they're lonely, they're going to stretch your soul, and they're very difficult. What's never shown in a movie is the suffering and a betrayed partner's pain. It's either not considered at all, or at best, it's severely minimized. So what do we do with all of this when it comes to what we watch on either the silver screen or at home on our televisions? If you're serious about your recovery and it hasn't happened already, you're gonna have to consider what you watch and you may have to change for longer than you want. If you've been wayward, the potential for triggering fantasy about your affair or your addiction is really high with a lot of the content that is out there. And your mind right now is really vulnerable to what you see. So it may mean you're gonna have to give up what you once loved or your favorite show. How many of you have been watching something with your mate and then some scene comes on that references infidelity? Well, I can promise if you've already done this, the mistake is, and the worst thing you can do is just to ignore it as if it didn't happen and not do or say anything. The most proactive, and again, hardest thing, is to actually pause, to walk out, and then directly check in and say, hey, what can I do differently? Are you okay? Or maybe even, I'm really sorry that scene just came on. What would you like to do about it? It's really normal in the early months and days following an affair for both spouses, and particularly the betrayed, to have hundreds of triggers and reminders a day. So movies, television in general, really aren't anything you might be able to handle right now. If you're betrayed in an attempt for you to care for yourself, you may need to let your mate know how much you're struggling with your intrusive thoughts and images. And you may need to even just ask them if they can help you set a boundary in this area right now of either not watching TV in general, or, as unnatural as this may sound, just asking them if you could come up together with something that you'd be able to watch. So before we kind of throw everything out just quite yet, there are a couple of more resources out there maybe to help you. There are some websites, Plugged In is one of them, Common Sense Media, that you can start to look up to see what scenes that a show might have to help steer you clear of triggers and reminders. And there are even subscription services. I think VidAngel is one that you can pay for, and they actually work to take out scenes that may contain too much violence or sexuality so that you can kind of get through the day without more reminders of the pain. If you want help further discussing this topic, I really invite you to check out our Affair Recovery Library, because we literally have thousands of videos and articles on any subject you can imagine. And one thing about affair recovery is there's real people behind the website that are there to help you navigate your next step in recovery and healing. Meaning if you email them or you call them, someone is going to get back to you. One thing I can assure you is while none of us probably have the power to change the media or what's going to sell at the box office, we all can start to make a decision of what's maybe best for you or ourselves, of what's going to help you in your journey towards healing and personal growth.